And we're live, guys. Yes, I want to talk about ketones. Subjects to talk about in my chat, but you don't. You guys do on Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic, all one word. But we're going to talk about the ketones here. Very important to understand. And I'm waiting. What's up, Briseis? You are the very first. And Dawn, you're the second. And Miriam's the third. Coming into the chat. So, let's go over these keto. Oh yeah, right? Let's go over the ketones. Let's do this. Hello there, Melly Mel. Okay, so I'm gonna go right on into ketones, and then I'm gonna take your guys' questions, and then I'm gonna bounce, and then I'm gonna go over to my live stream on my Instagram and go live there. So I'm gonna double live it before the sun goes down. That's the point, because I hate doing night streams. Oh, you're from Australia, Connie. That's awesome. Did you guys know I was there doing keto tour, Melbourne, Brisbane. No, I went to Melbourne, then Sydney, then Brisbane, and then to Bali, and then back to Australia, and then back home. It was a crazy trip. Was gone a month. Okay, here we go. You meant from the Dr. Oz show, but I think you meant Australia. Let's see here. Don't forget, you guys, to like up the stream by hitting that X in the corner, collapsing the chat, and then you'll see the thumbs up. Like it, and that'll help bring people to my track. How's that? MCT oil now, after some years, it's just no. It doesn't create more ketones, and it does not put you in ketosis, and it's processed, and it doesn't have lauric acid benefits, so get rid of it. Just do coconut oil, and that's not even ketogenic. Just the lauric acid's good. What's up, Deborah? Mamad's in the house. We just started the stream, so I thought I'd talk about keto. So here we go. Now, I decided to talk about ketones because I had a client this morning. Yes, I do consultations. And her ketones, she was very interesting because she was a martial arts competitor, just an athlete. And I could see she was an athlete just by her arm. Like, if she was cut off right here on Skype, I saw her here. She maybe try streaming using 2 devices. I did that. I've done that. Lucinda, what is it? Lucinda Price. It was a lot of work. I did that once, and I will do that again, but not when the sun's going down, because I like to have the light, not dark. So I'm going to talk really quick and explain that this person that I did a consultation with, her ketones were low, and I was trying to explain to her, number one, do not use MCTs. They are medium chain triglycerides, right? Short chain fats, fatty acids, and they burn off really quickly. They don't create viable ketones. How did I come to this conclusion? Because I kept trying it out on people, because I did videos a long time ago with people using, or I use MCT oil. And now that I have a keto course Facebook group, we do a lot of trials there. And people are trying certain things, and of course my consultations, and their ketones are still crap on freaking a lot of MCT oil. For example, this woman, she was doing a lot of MCT oil, and her ketones were like under a 1, maybe a 1.0. And you guys know that your ketone values by using a blood glucometer. Should I say this in every video? Especially to the newbies that are coming in who've never seen before, you're going to use a blood glucometer and not a urine strip. So that's ketones leaving the body, right? Leaving the body. We don't want that. No, we want what's in the blood value. Okay. What's up, LaShonda and Alicia? So, okay. I have a Precision Extra. That's what I used to always suggest, is to use the Precision Extra. But the ketone strips, it's a dual glucometer. It measures blood sugar and ketones. The Precision Extras, glucose numbers, which, of course, we go and have discussions about this on the course page. You sign up for that at stephanieperson.com. But yeah, seems like the Mojo, which is now the competing glucometer, is pretty cool with the ketones, bad with the glucose. It just is showing these wacky numbers. And even though these things are not 100% with their they're not 100% with their number readings of blood values, but they get you close, right? So they can be up to 20 to 25% off in off in the range of being wrong, but still closer than a Mojo. But the Mojo's ketones are cheaper, so you might want to have both of them, right? This one for the blood sugar and the Mojo for the ketones, because the strips for the Mojo are a lot cheaper. So essentially, a lot of people think that it's no point to measure your ketones if your blood sugar is high, because they understand, a lot of people have been like, kind of like researching keto a little bit, and of course watching my channel, we'll realize that, well, if my blood sugar is over 100, or if it's over a 5.6 in millimolars, if it's over a 5.6, or if it's over 100, and what's the point? You know, your ketones are not going to be very viable. And that is true. But I, as a keto coach, such a cheesy expression, I'm very sorry, but with me consulting people and doing this forever, and I get my data from people I work with. So it's been thousands of people now, and now I can see correlations between all these things that so many people have the same problems, right? They have leaky gut, they've got skin issues, they've got SIBO, they've got candida overgrowth, they have anxiety and depression and polycystic ovarian syndrome and rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis, and they've got low testosterone, high estrogen, and everybody's got this stuff. Like, this is the normal, right? People are constipated, loose stool, floating stool, greasy stool, pale stool. Y'all have it. Not everyone has the same thing, but if I were to like mention all the things that people have, you will tick box 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of those things that I just mentioned. Having a hard time lowering your body fat, whatever. The biggest one is nobody has energy anymore. Like, that's gone. Number 1, energy's crap. Number 2, sleep is crap. But I digress. So with the people on the course page, it's been so great because I can have this feedback instantly with a lot of people at once, by a couple hundred people at once. Whereas my one-on-one consultations are data that I've collected over time. So it is relative. It is relevant and relative to test your ketones, because if your ketones are really, really high, then they're going higher and higher and higher, and they have nowhere to go. So there's a problem with the viability and the uptake of your ketones, the ketone production. And you will notice that your ketones will go from a 3 to a 3.5 to a 4, 4.5, 5, 6, and barely ever do you see a 7, but you'll see things in the 4s and 5s. 7s is not dangerous, nor is 8 or 9 or 10. It's when you get to about 12 millimolars in ketones, they start to become acidic. Obviously, 19 millimolars is dangerous, and just 99% of people who develop any type of ketoacidosis, it's coming from type 1 diabetics, not because they do keto, just any type 1 diabetic has a problem with creating, because you guys have to understand, we all make ketones. We are designed to make ketones, just as we are designed to make cholesterol. So this whole ideology of these theories that cholesterol is damaging to the body is embarrassing at this point in almost 2019. And Deborah says to remind you guys, she's reminding you guys to like up the chat. So a lot of you guys are. We have 71 people here. So to like up the chat, you have to collapse the window and you'll see the thumbs up. And then like that and then come back into the chat. So here we go, you guys. I can't see what you're saying, but I see some of you guys are talking to each other. So hypoglycemia, I'll address all of that. And that's another thing. If you test and your ketones are between a 1.8 and a 3.0 and you have hypoglycemic symptoms, that's another problem with the viability. So here are the things that show that you're not making ketones. Number 1, they're below a 1, right? Number 2, they are in a really good range, but you still feel really tired and hypoglycemic. Number 3, they're climbing higher and higher because they're not getting into the cells to be uptaken, and they end up in your urine. That's what we don't want. Yes? Or fat. So yes, it is important to test your ketones even if your blood sugar is too high, because we need to know if you are making the ketones. I understand the numbers. A lot of people don't understand the numbers because I just work with so many people that a lot of people, I'm like, okay, how do you feel? Do you feel tired? Do you feel wired? Do you have inverted cortisol? Do you have a hard time sleeping? Is your stool greasy? Are you bloated? Like, a lot of people don't go, you learn this, right? Oh, you're trying to decipher, do you have leaky gut? right? And why you have fat in your stool? Or do you have a gallbladder problem? Which one is it? Because both can create that problem, right? Gallbladder sludge, gallbladder stones, an infected gallbladder will create greasy stool. Also leaky gut, and they both create a paleness to the color of your stool, which is not a nice brown color like me. Yes. Or let's say copper, because I know you guys are gonna make jokes. But uh, you can, both are gonna be pale, and both have a very similar look to the stool quality. But very, very often, if the stool is very greasy, it's probably your gallbladder from gallbladder sludge or stones or an infection. And then if you have pain on your right side, now a lot of people have pain, they think they have gallbladder and they don't have gallbladder and it's something else. But let's get back to the ketones. Decaf herbal tea, okay. Tammy, you know I can't see anything. So y'all, please stop with the questions so I can just finish this. So when people watch the replay, I'm actually hitting the topic first and then I'll take the questions because I can't see them. And I don't want you to necessarily answer each other yet, because sometimes you answer each other wrong and sometimes right. But so yes, it is important to see if you are making ketones. I want to see if you have leaky gut. Do you have the leaky gut symptoms? Tick box that, right? Do you have histamine issues? Tick box that, because histamine issues, buildup of histamines from leaky gut and from other issues, from, epigenetics and, mother not freaking breastfeeding you or not vaginally birthed, being a C-section baby. These things can encourage issues with the gut wall. And pharmaceuticals, chemicals, our water source is not, it's got like fluoride in it and all this kind of stuff. I saw that one though, right? Okay, so the problem is that you guys don't understand how to decipher if you're making ketones or not. Now, you can make ketones, but if your blood sugar's too high, it sort of cancels out most of the use of those ketones. So you don't have the energy like I do. You don't have the energy, and you might notice other weird things like crepey skin, can't sleep at night. Like your body has to be in absolute balance to be able to use those ketones that you're making. Anyone, it doesn't matter if you're a carb person and you don't eat an entire ability of those ketones to really give you sustained energy, being fully adapted, that's not going to happen. That takes time for the body to switch, the brain switching over to using ketones as its primary source of fuel. So with that said, let's see if you make ketones, because some people are not making. First of all, the major reason why people's ketones, and they're drinking coffee and their blood sugar's too high, they're just not eating enough animal fat. People are really afraid of the animal fat. So there's a whole cholesterol debacle, ridiculousness on humans. We are not that advanced enough to understand cholesterol molecules. We are not, and we are not, and we are not. Okay? So our body makes cholesterol, you people, through the liver. We recycle it. 75% of the cholesterol that your body uses, you make it yourself. We have transports for cholesterol. So if it's bad for you, then why do we have all this equipment to make it and use it? See what I mean? So we have to rethink what we've been taught, unlearn this nonsense garbage from conventional wisdom. So with that said, now if you don't eat enough fat, I see very often with lots of people that their ketones are low. Now, this one guy who's a research scientist and he's all into the carnivore and keto, and he's a really smart dude, but he was like, stop using your urine strips and stop using your glucometer. I'm like, well, that's anecdotal, bro, because I actually work with people who use glucometers, and you can actually see the correlation between their symptoms and their numbers. It's very easy. If you work with enough people, you will see. A child will see the correlation. So often when people don't eat enough fat. Now, there are the anomalies, very good ketone makers. Their body will start breaking down fatty acids, start breaking down fat immediately through lipolysis. They will just start breaking down fat immediately. Some people do that. It's pretty amazing. Now, how much their body uses, that's a whole nother subject, honey, because it has to get into the cells, into the blood, and then into the cells to give you that energy. So there's a difference between making something and using it. And a lot of people get confused on this aspect. But some people just really are great ketone makers on no fat, just from here. But most people are not. Normally, what your diet of animal fat and high quality pastured animal fat and getting your stress down really shows itself in your numbers. That correlation is pretty obvious. And then on top of that, on a third tier level, your symptoms match the ketone production that you see, right? The fat, then the ketone production, then the energy. It's pretty cool. Now, that's not everybody though. So there's all these little holes in things and you got to consider. So if you have histamine issues, right? Sensitivities to foods, you have stress, cortisol, you have a gut imbalance, all of these things will mess with your ketone viability. So people are like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. It's like, why do I? So I'm like, well, what's your glucose numbers? Oh, my glucose numbers are 86. And I'm like, okay, your glucose numbers are 86. Your ketone numbers are 3.5. Looks decent on paper. Okay, now we're going to take away these numbers. Now I know the numbers. Let's talk about your symptoms. And then I'll find out that their sleep is horrific, that they're tired all day long. They're okay, but they don't have a lot of energy, right? They need pre-workouts before they work out. They crash in the afternoon. So then I go and deconstruct what is actually going on. Do you have a histamine response? What does your poop look like? Like, do you freaking breathe? How many people do I see at the gym holding their breath when they're lifting? And I'm like, would you do that just in general? Just hold your breath like that? Like, you lose all strength when you don't keep breathing through a contraction. So there's a lot of things that you guys realize that when you focus on the computer at your job, you don't breathe. You're like taking these little tiny breaths throughout the day. You're not oxygenating the body, the blood, and therefore you feel like crap and the ketones become unviable. These are some of the things you guys wouldn't consider. You could have adrenal insufficiencies. You could have your cortisol inverted. So now your cortisol's higher, the release of cortisol gets higher at night. And then in the day, you've got to go to work and go deal with the kids and drop them off and blah, 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 and hit the gym. And you're like exhausted all day long because your cortisol production is not high enough earlier part of the day where it should be. That's when people start going towards the coffee. And it's like, oh my God, like, I just love the taste and like the routine of it. I'm not really into coffee. I'm like, shush, shush, blah, 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 blah. Y'all stop. Stop bugging. I just listen to my body. I'm like, child, you need to listen with the other ear because the ear you've been listening to your whole life is wrong. Okay? That's why you feel bad and look bad from the inside out, health-wise. So it's really important to look at all these nuances, right? The time you go to bed, the timing of your food according to the circadian rhythm, how you breathe, how your posture is, the strength of your gut. And somebody said, I did an oat test and I have no parasites. I have no parasites. I have no infection. I was like, don't you understand oat tests can only look through a small pinhole at what's going on here? Okay, we're made up of a lot of bacteria, people, and we don't know it all. We're just starting to learn it. So just because your body doesn't come up with C. diff or Giardia does not mean you don't have another infection. So you, at the end of the day, if you come back with having no infection, you got to look at your symptoms and try to deconstruct and try to understand what's going on. So if you guys have stress, you're arguing with partners, I don't know how many times I'm around a couple and they're fighting. And I'm like, or just people fighting, irritated, snappy, snap, 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 snap. That snappiness that you got, that will push down your ketones because your cortisol's up, your blood pressure up, your blood sugar starts spiking, and the ketones become unviable. Just like that. Boop. Just like that. Now, another thing you guys want to consider is you don't measure your ketones in the afternoon. That's whatever you see. Like, I had really good ketones. I measured it at like 5 o'clock, 5 p.m., or 1700 hours. And as the Swedish say, klockan 17. And my ketones were really good. They were like a 2.5. I'm like, that's subjective. Nope, nope, nope. That's from what you ate. What were your ketones fasted? 0.9. I was like, so your ketones were 0.9 fasted in the morning upon waking up, and now they're at a 2.5. You're not burning this. That's what you're trying to do, people. You're trying to access the restaurant right here, right? And for women, the restaurant is even bigger. This is the restaurant for women. Here's the restaurant for men. System, DHEA production, pregnenolone, DHEA, all of those things you have to be aware of. Your reproductive hormonal. So now I start having people do reproductive hormonal panels. Men will come back with a testosterone of 200, and then they're like, oh, that's why I'm depressed. Okay, well, what pushed down your testosterone? Was it cortisol? Was it wheat? Because you still eat wheat products, that you are sensitive to some of the anti-nutrients in plants. All these things can make your ketones crap, and for a long time. Now, I'm going to take your guys' questions, and I'm going to get out of here in 10 minutes, and then I'm going to go to my Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic. If you guys want to watch me on Instagram, I do a lot of stuff on stories. Today, did I talk about diamine oxidase and oxalobacter? If you're missing enzymes to break down oxalates in spinach, because a lot of you guys are, which is another thing. If you have histamine, that histamine, this response to the anti-nutrients in plants, will make your ketones horrible. No joke. So understand what's going on with the gut. Boom. All right. Let's see here. Deborah's on it. I love it. Sorry, Yusuf. You got to go, baby cakes. All right. So let me take some of your guys' concerns. Oh, what's up, Janet? So Janet's in the house. What is the thing called? Measure your ketones. It's called a glucometer. Sort of like it reads a glucometer, but it's actually called a glucometer. And it's a precision extra. So this is the one that I like, but the ketone strips are so expensive. So Google Mojo. All right. Thank you, Luna. Thank you. Hey, Stephanie, my ketones today was a 4.0. So of course they're too high, but not dangerous high. Just you're not using a lot of them. And glucose today was 77. My stool is fine. I'm doing the correct macros. What could cause my ketones to go up? And I told you, Bella, I told you, stress, poor sleep, any type of stressful event, any type of fight or flight response can make those ketones unviable. Your body could be fighting off a cold or a flu that you're not even aware of, and so your body's like trying to the immune system is overstimulated. That can block your ketone production. You have to really dig deeper than just, okay, so I do this and I do that and I do this, why are my ketones too high? It's a lot of little varying factors. Even too hard can be like create a cortisol response that you didn't even consider. Do you guys ever get like a cut and you're like, I don't even remember, or bruise, you're like, excuse me, when did I get that bruise? You don't even remember when you got that bruise, or you don't have any memory of hitting yourself on that spot. But that hitting yourself is trauma to the body. That spikes your inflammatory response to protect your body, which can block the ketones while your body's dealing with the inflammatory or whatever the inflammation is going on. So I hope that makes sense. Yep. So journal everything so you can make correlative. I can't even speak English. Good Lord. Maybe I should speak Swedish instead. Is it harmful to be on keto? I have anxiety issues such as panic disorder and PTSD. Is it best to fix those problems before going on keto? No. Well, Becky, if you do keto the right way, you can actually use the right protocol to help your PTSD, anxiety, and gut issues. Wrong? Yes, it can make all those symptoms worse. So what's right and wrong? Well, that's hard to say. It's really good to know the individual, like, okay, how old are you? Were you vaginally birthed? Did you get breastfed? Like, have you been on antibiotics? Have you been eating these types of foods? Do you have a sensitivity? Have you done an allergy test? All of these things are important to try to understand your PTSD. And then if I asked you those questions in a consultation, then we can kind of just eliminate the oh, I've never had antibiotics. Okay, it's not the antibiotics. Oh, I've never had this or that, or I've had a ton of antibiotics. Then we can start ruling that in as a potential to your issues. And like if you're doing keto, if you have no gallbladder, for example, would you start keto right away with anxiety, and all of a sudden you eat a lot of fat, and you're like, oh, I feel so nauseous, I feel terrible, and then that could make your PTSD and your anxiety worse because you're feeling bad. So it's really hard to say. I'm trying my hardest, you guys. I'm trying to like tell you all the potential so you can go and do your due diligence and do your homework and experimentation and find out what the actual problem is. It needs to be a dual. Yes, it has to be a dual glucometer that measures both, because ketones without glucose is useless to have the machine, and glucose without ketones is useless to have the machine. I mean, maybe if you tested your glucose and you're like, okay, I'm not diabetic, but then that would be it. So we need to know where your ketones are at doing a ketogenic diet. There's 8 years now, so, because people could be like, she don't know what she's talking about. I'll be like, okay, what blood tests do you recommend I take? If I take what? I take so I can take them to what? To a doc to explain to me if my thyroid hormones are out of whack. Okay, so flaca, unfortunately, sometimes the full thyroid panel is what you want to take. You definitely want to get a TPO antibody in there. It's fine. But the problem is, like I said, doctors only know about 2% of the body. They can't see if these thyroid hormones are going into the cells. So you would get a full thyroid panel, and then you would chart down your symptoms. So the girl that I had a consultation today, she was young. She was 23. She's like, I have some body hair here. I was like, PCOS. She's like, huh? I'm on polycystic ovarian syndrome, high testosterone. Have you had a sex hormonal panel test to check your testosterone? And she's like, no. And I was like, well, do that to rule out obvious PCOS or not. So we're getting closer, people. Okay, I was on a 3-hour 45. What? I would see why my ketones would. Oh, there you go. Bad sleep makes ketones unviable. Check that off the list. That's a big major potential, that it was the lack of good sleep that made your ketones bad or too high. Let's see. Oh, well, we finally got the likes up a lot. So if there's anyone else who has not liked up the stream, like up the stream, guys, because that helps bring people to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Everybody says that. And sometimes people say channel. Welcome to my channel. And I was like, it's not channel. Okay, I'm just being silly. Okay, I think it's time for another consultation. Becky, okay, gotcha. Oh my God, yes, I'm getting some body hair too, and my hair's texture is changing. Flaca, there you go. There you go. And also PCOS women will notice really weird stuff. Sugar runs real high. They tend to like the reproductive hormonal system and their thyroid tend to come together as like a package. And often they'll start to lose their hair, but then you don't know, is it like anemia? Is it PCOS, the balding with high testosterone, or is it the thyroid? Okay, so no, was it Dion, Go Healthy. Obviously, one of the major things, one, get some ox bile salts from an ox, but the bile salts from an ox, because your body will make them in the liver, but there's nowhere to store them. Some people's bodies are very smart and find a place to store the salts, so they don't have any symptoms with no gallbladder on a ketogenic diet. And the gallbladder, how that's relevant is because the salts are going to take the fat and break it down into smaller molecules so your body can use the fats. And if you don't have the gallbladder, you don't have anything to break down the fats, and so that's why you get greasy poo-poo. Okay, so ox bile salts, you would start taking the salts, recommended dose, on the after you've already started eating the fats, and you would eat that with every or digestive enzymes. But that's a maybe. I don't like supplements, but some things you have to do for the short term. And then you would eat your fats slow, like y'all fast eaters. Like I used to be a fast eater, and I sit there and chew like 40 times, and it turns into all liquid, and then I swallow. So that makes me go from 4 minutes of having a meal to a half an hour. And that is how your body can deal with all the fats coming in, is when it comes in slowly. Another thing you can do with no gallbladder is take all your fats with your main meals, with your protein, because that's going to encourage better digestion when you eat protein. The HCl levels are going to get percolating. Ox bile supplements may be helpful without a gallbladder. Becky, to be honest, it's very helpful. You know, it helps, I'd say 95% of all the people with no gallbladder who need to break down their fats. And I need to open up my window here because it's such a beautiful sunset. Let's see here. From my own experience, high insulin, my more body hair when my insulin is lower, less, especially with facial hair. Yes, and it could also be like high insulin does some jobs. I mean, it creates like dark patches on your neck and face when your blood sugar and insulin is running high. But this girl's blood sugar was not running especially high. She had a blood sugar of 86, which is not should to rule out things, is not from insulin resistance that she has her body hair. Okay, guys, 30 minutes. I'm going to go over to my Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic, and try to catch the last light there. Thank you for joining the chat. Of course, I could keep this going to 2 hours like I normally do. I'm trying to cut these streams off. If you guys are looking for a consultation, you can go to stephanieperson.com. I think I'm almost full booked now, so I have to reopen up my schedule for a whole new month. I think I have bookings until Christmas, and then I don't have after Christmas, but I'll quick after Christmas, end of December and into January. I have a keto course page where we go over all these subjects. I think yesterday I posted a whole thing about leaky gut, so I go and do a bunch of research plus all the data that I have, and then I'll put up like articles that I create personally for us to discuss on the course page. And we do all types of things, like I analyze people's food, I do live I call them mini consultations, and group discussions and recipe sharing, which I'm not really a fan of the recipes, but anyway. So Deborah says to subscribe to my Facebook Keto course page, go to her website, which is stephanieperson.com. If you guys don't know how to spell it, my mod, Deborah, who's amazing, put it up there for you guys to see. Normally I don't push these things, but you guys know that I don't have like Patreon or anything like that, any donation type of thing. I just sort of try to work for what I do. I have meal plans. I'm going to update them all. I'm trying to update them each day. It's a lot. And I'm adding new plans to my site as well. And I'm still working on this book, but that's a whole nother subject. I will address that. It will be done soon, but I will let you guys know. Stop talking about my book so much because I just need to finish it. And a lot of stuff. I'm going to start traveling again with my seminars. Because you know, you guys, I went to Sweden to do a seminar, all over Australia for a month to do seminars in different cities, South Africa twice, and in New York, and then I stopped, right, to do the book. And now it is time to get it all up and going again. So I might come to your city. You are literally the only person who has ever had possible explanation for my super greasy hair. I can't wait for another consultation with you. I wish I could support you more. Aw, Fleck, I really appreciate it. Yeah, greasy hair, really scabby flakiness. There's a lot of reasons for that. It's probably due to the anti-nutrients in food, so that's why you guys more. I'm talking more about carnivore. I was not a carnivore fan in the beginning because I understand that plants, as omnivores, because we are hunter-gatherers, there's a place for plants, but we were eating too many plants out of season, processed, and people start developing the greasy scalp and the gut dysbiosis and the histamine response and really dry, scabby, flaky scalp and the dandruff and the eczema and the shingles and the rashes and the white tongue and the itchy butt and the itchy vagina and the nails that have ridges on them and the dark circles under the eyes and the line between the forehead and the lines under the and the melasma on the discoloration on the skin and like the bloat, the constant bloat where you freaking look pregnant and the crepey skin, the skin starts to hang. And the bad breath, by the way, coconut oil pulling with oregano, you guys, just oil pull. That'll help the keto breath and bad breath. And also, like, the abscess and the rotten teeth, that'll really help fix the bacteria in the mouth. The lack of drinking water, the fact that you guys want to keep drinking You can't drink alcohol or liquor on a ketogenic diet. So these are the things that I've delved into over the years, and you guys, I'm still here. Somebody said I was following you when you were still doing streams in your bathroom. I used to do streams in my bathroom. This is years and 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 years ago, and some people have been following me since then. And my channel over these years hasn't grown that much because I keep talking about stuff that is not sexy. So I have to be sexy, okay? At 51, yes, that you guys can have energy and you can build muscle. You can build freaking muscle. Don't think that because you get older that all of these symptoms that you have are age related, because they ain't. They are us being lied to, misdirected, and doing the wrong things that have broken down our DNA and messed up coming to Sydney. Not anytime soon, because that's a nice 16-hour flight, okay? And expensive up in Sydney. I'm just saying. But maybe the Gold Coast. No, I'm kidding. I want to go to New Zealand, so I think that might be like another big place that I want to go to. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining this chat. I'm out. Go to Stephanie Burton. No, Stephanie. Blah. I'm going to be doing new videos soon. The guy that's going to be filming and editing, he's like, what is up with all the stupid keto names? I'm like, I know. I'm not a millennial. I didn't figure it out to have one name for everything. Yes, New Zealand, honey. Yes. Yes, I'm 51. Yo, 51. Boom. Right? Boom, 50. Somebody's like, you're too thin. I'm like, no, I'm not thin, child. I'm at the size and the weight that I should be as a little girl because I'm small, right? Boom. Okay. The SAD diet for the last 40 years has been a prescription for chronic illness and early death. Yes, Deborah's correct. We all been eating all that nonsense. And then we try to tell people to eat fat. They're like, but what about my cholesterol? I'm like, we're almost 2019. Like, we'll be 2020 soon, and people still believe in that cholesterol garbage nonsense, right? Where's my heart disease, right? Why do I stay at 51? Why do I look better than I did 16 years ago when I was 35? Okay? You guys want to see me? I was 30, what was I? I was 30, I think I was 32 here. That's me at 32. So do the same position. See that? That's me at 32, people. All right? Okay? That's almost 20 years ago. Do you see this? That's 20 years ago, people. She in the same position? Was I doing? See that? That's what keto has done. Don't tell me black don't crack. Yes, it does. It sags. It gets crepey, too. And you bloated. All right, guys. Peace out. Thank you for joining this chat. I'll see you on the next one. You guys go to the comments below and tell me what subjects you want me to talk about, because I've said that in 3 or 4 streams and nobody has done it yet. I need more material for you guys. Like, I want to see what you guys want me to more talk about. Not much change. No, child. I say almost nothing has changed, except I just get better with time, right? Boom. 32 years old. That's what's up. Okay? Why dry out? The same and younger. Yeah, I think that I weighed less here. I was like 113 pounds here. Now I'm about 122. So the last month I was like 125 and I went down to like 118, but now I'm 122 again. What? Boof. Yo, that's what's up. Okay, guys. Thank you so much, and I'm out. Saw you in New York. Was excellent seminar. Oh, MB was at my New York seminar. Thank you. I got to come back to New York to do a seminar, promo reel, to be able to go out there and get more exposure so people can hear not like weight loss garbage and like almond flour and, you know, anti-nutrients and lectins and saponins and salicylates and all this stuff. Okay. Brise's like, yes, please, yes. Okay. Bye, guys. I'm on to Instagram, Stephanie Ketogenic, and I'm out.